Right now, I want to talk to longtime Turning Point contributor Stephen Davis, also known as MAGA Hulk, also known as many other online monikers. Stephen Davis was there when I got there. He's been around for as long as anybody knew Charlie well. Stephen, I'll just open the floor up to you. Thanks for being here, and what's going through your head? Anything that you want to say?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I mean, this is obviously we're all still in shock when it comes to this situation. This is
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous. It's a senseless murder when it comes to one of our foremost leaders, an inspirational man, a moral man who was all about his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I mean, this is the type of person that would stood on the forefront of this movement and promoted Americanism, patriotism, dedicated his life to study, dedicated his life to his nation and to the youth of this nation and to his wife and to his kids. And we forget that this man is not just a leader, but he's a leader of his family. This is unbelievable. You don't take a father, you don't take a husband, you don't do these egregious things just to prove a political point. It's absolutely egregious. We as a country need to wake up, need to come back together, because at the end of the day, this is what Charlie would have wanted. So we need to come together as a country, reunify as the United States of America, not the divided, but the United States of America, and move on towards the future.
You know, Stephen, you mentioned something that I think I've mentioned a couple times before that I think is just a really interesting dynamic in the movement broadly. He said, moral guy, a man of character, a guy who's devoted to his wife, which is all true. And I think we both understood, well, you didn't have to worry about any sort of like scandal coming out with Charlie. You didn't have to worry about, oh, hey, you were going to find out something about him that he was doing in his personal life that would not be becoming of the guy he said he was. That was all just like not a concern, which I think allowed us to be more proactive in calling out other people on the other side specifically, because there was never any fear of like, okay, well, this is going to look hypocritical if this comes out or people find out about this, because there just wasn't anything there. I don't know. Did it make you feel like you could say more because of that? And what kind of comfort did that give you, knowing again you're not going to have to be faced with any sort of like calls of hypocrisy or anything like that, because Charlie was such a good dude, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. I mean, that's the name of the game. I mean, when you look at this political landscape, it's all wrought with all kinds of scandal, all kinds of foolishness, all kinds of double standards and hypocrisy. And this is something he also talked about quite often, is the fact that he said that if the left didn't have any double standards, they would have no standards at all. But when it came to him, he made sure he walked what he talked. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He lived the way the Bible called him to do. He did the things that he expected out of us. And at the end of the day, that emboldens us to be able to go out there and stand as he did, because he is a leader. And as a leader, people are looking to your example. And if you have a life that's you live in such a way that's above reproach, you can better believe it empowers everyone else to do the exact same thing. So it makes us all raise our game. I'm glad that he lived such a life, and we're going to continue to uphold that legacy.
Yeah, I know. It's like a sinking or a rising tide lifts all ships. It was easy to be better around a guy who was holding himself to the highest possible standard. Stephen, I hate to bring this up, but being a black guy, this is obviously one of these terms that are floating around, and we will play a clip later on in the show that is going to infuriate you. And I don't mean to do that specifically, not you specifically, Stephen, our audience. But it makes a declarative statement. This guy was racist. What do you have to say to the people that are saying that right now, and what's your message to the broader movement or broader country as a whole that for some reason thinks that?
Well, first and foremost, when I became ensconced in Turning Point USA, I was on the Charlie Kirk show, and we talked about pretty much extensively about the black community, almost exclusively about the black community. We talked about the black community and the problems within the black community and how to fix them because he wanted to help his fellow man. That's the type of man he was. That was the type of heart that he had. And when TPUSA got a hold of Blexit,
Yeah.
that's exactly what he did. He poured resources into this organization for the education and the betterment of the black community, which resounds to the betterment of the entire country. So he had a heart for the black community. He had a heart for those. I mean, the amount of resources this man wanted to focus on and pour into Blexit to be able to help the black community is absolutely astounding. So I'm so sick and tired of these narratives that because this man spoke truth, because the man said the hard things that everyone else shirks away from, because this man actually spoke to the heart of issues and not placate to identity politics and not bend the knee and bow down to such individuals, he is now labeled a pariah, now labeled a racist, and all the different phobes that they try to label and put onto this man. It's absolutely egregious. I'm sick and tired of it. And it's time for us to stand up for this man who stood for us.
All of the different phobes. I'm going to start using that phobia, meaning the irrational fear. Clearly, the guy didn't have a not only irrational fear, just not really much fear in general in Charlie. Yep. I hate to put you on the spot here, Stephen. One of the fun things, not fun things, but one of the consoling things is sharing stories about Charlie. We talked about last week, remarked on how good he got at flicking those hats out of the air. Because when he first started doing the hats, those things are hard to throw. And I think that it's easy. It's not. It's not like a Frisbee. They've got this like certain curvature to them. So you've got to have the appropriate wrist flick. And I thought, I don't know, one of the things that I remembered, it was just how progressively better he got at a thing that did not matter to get better at. That's just kind of, he said, I'm going to perfect this insignificant, inconsequential thing. And that's just the kind of guy he was. Do you have any stories of behind the scenes that share with our viewers of the good times with Charlie?
Absolutely. And first of all, yes, the hat Frisbee toss has gotten progressively better. And I must say, it's thank God it did, he was able to let those things sail. But, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to Charlie Kirk, we were, especially as a part of Campus Crashers, me and Anthony Watson, another contributor with Turning Point USA, we were, at a lot of his stops, and, the back and forth we would have with Charlie was absolutely fantastic, especially when he would arrive on the scene. Him being able to do his, prove me wrongs out there. And in the same time, me and Anthony Watson will be doing our own prove me wrongs within the crowd, be able to engage with the individuals who weren't able to get in line and speak to Charlie. It was absolutely phenomenal. I love the fact that he facilitated that. Also, I remember he set me on my course especially when it came to the black community and the mission that I have. He gave me a book called Cynical Theories, right, by James Lindsay. Yeah. Yes, indeed. And Dr. James Lindsay and Helen Prucklos. He gave me this book. He said, I want you to know this. I want you to learn this. I want you to be a foremost authority on critical race theory. And I said, sir, yes, sir. And since then, I've been ensconcing myself into critical race theory, debunking it. And that's what I do when I go to college campuses, talk about the negative effects of critical race theory and what has happened on our country and our social cohesion as a country, and especially within the black community, to turn us into the vitriolic, angry, agitated group that we become. So, to see this man give us, he gave us missions, and it's incumbent on all of us to perfect and carry out these missions and complete them to their success.
Yeah, and we've talked about this endlessly too. One of his main goals was building other people up. Obviously, you were one of those. I think myself was one of those. Turned out he got so much confidence in you. You got a whole documentary series, Race War. Go check it out on Rumble, which again was fantastic, but also like a testament to he understands you can't do it all himself, and would constantly pour into people and allow them to, fill any of the gaps that he couldn't get to. So with that, will be missed greatly, but don't worry, we got it from here. Stephen Davis, Turning Point contributor, thanks so much for taking the time, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.